Hey there everybody, James here, and we are back with another watch review, and today we're doing something just for fun. Today we're going to be talking about the Geya Concept Roulette, which is basically a copy of the Jacob Co Casino Tourbillon watch. So we're going to dive into the specs, we're going to talk a little bit about the watch and get my thoughts on it, and from there I'll let you decide where you draw the line between versus what you're willing to pay versus the aesthetics of the watch. So thank you for stopping by the channel. If this is your first time here, please do like and comment and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. And I am a big proponent of you getting out of watches whatever it is that you want to get out of watches. And that's why I'm reviewing this one today, because I think it brings up an interesting question. Because ultimately, I want you to know and love the watches you have so that you can be a satisfied watch collector. So let's talk about this watch. It was released in 2023, and Geya Watches has been around since 1993, making these types of interesting pieces. And again, a lot of them are copies of what you would find out there in the luxury watch world. Your Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks, your Patek Philippe Nautilus, all those types of watches that in a very real way for many people have become almost unobtainable. Even if you're a luxury watch collector, it can be really hard to get those watches, and that's why I do have some level of appreciation for what Geya is trying to do here. So the reference for this model is G78187 GWKK. The material of the case is stainless steel. It's 316L stainless steel. And let's go over the dimensions. This is a big watch, so don't be fooled. I already have pretty small wrists, and I'll show you on the wrist what this looks like in a second. But this is a beast of a watch. It's a monster. It is 46 millimeters as far as the case size goes. The thickness of the case is 17.5 millimeters. And you can see that they actually have a really nice polish to this case. I will say it picks up fingerprints relatively easily, so just be aware of that. But it has a nice polish to it. It's very much a mirror when you're looking at it. You can see me in the camera back here. The lug width is 22 millimeters, so if you want to throw a different strap on it, 22 millimeters is what you would need. And then I did kind of try to measure the lug to lug on this watch. So from lug to lug, you're looking at about 52.5 millimeters or so. My Sky Dweller is just over 50, and this thing extends out even beyond that. So it is, again, it wears pretty large. The movement in this watch is an automatic Seagull 1612, which is kind of similar to a Miyota 8215. So again, this is a great budget caliber here. You're not going to get any crazy accuracy out of this. You're probably looking at somewhere between 10 to 35 seconds a day variation. So plus or minus 10 to 35 seconds a day. A lot of people report that it does run better than that, but just, don't expect a, COSC certified chronometer in this watch. That's not the point of what we're trying to do here. 60 hours of power reserve. It does have a beat rate of 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it's water resistant to 50 meters. So let's put this one on my tiny, tiny wrists here, and I will let you be the judge of what you think here. So again, it is really, really large on me. Again, my Sky Dweller is 50 millimeters lug to lug, and this is even beyond that. So you can see it does extend quite a bit beyond my wrists in both directions. So just be aware of that. Again, you can go for the big watch look, and I think this will do you well if that's kind of what you're going for. But if you're trying to have this fit you properly, you probably would need a pretty large wrist of, I would say, at least about 7 inches in circumference for it to work. So let's talk a little bit about the accessorizing on the watch here. So this is a leather strap. It's not alligator leather, but it does have a nice gloss to it. And then a simple pin buckle with the brand on the pin buckle there. I will say that one nice thing I noticed right away with this is that they punched these holes pretty far up the strap. So I was actually, even with my size wrists, which are about 6 inches in circumference, I was able to actually wear this on the smallest punched hole. So Geya, props to you for actually sizing these things or creating the size options for just about anybody, because that's pretty great. On the back of the strap here, you can see it says genuine leather. So that's what it looks like on the back of it. Just a nice, kind of supple, soft leather feel to it. nothing special there, but it does have a nice feel. You know, it wears pretty nice. As far as the functionality on the watch, it is a time-only watch. So there are a couple of other positions that you can pull the crown out to, but really it's just for the time. That's really it. So can adjust the time there. And then of course you want the watch in the first position. It's a push down crown. So, okay. So now that we've talked a little bit about that, let's talk about the interesting part here. And that of course is the dial. Now the dial on the actual Jacob Co watch, it's got a slider right here that acts as the kind of roulette wheel activation mechanism. On this watch, again, being the budget watch that it is, they just opted to put the roulette wheel on a bearing. And so it just moves. When you move your wrist, the roulette wheel moves. And I do think that's kind of a neat little touch. They've got this little white roulette ball that, you know, just kind of swings around on the inside. And that's what it does. So it's kind of a fun visual, playful element there. And I do like that about it. In the inside of the dial here, we do have, of course, cubic zirconia diamonds. And then there are 12 green zirconium diamonds that act as your hour markers. So there is a visual way to tell the time. And you also do have a loomed hands here. So you do get a little bit of visibility even when it's dark. So if you're out at the roulette wheel, you will always be able to tell the time on your roulette wheel watch. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, that's the roulette wheel. It's pretty neat. Just a fun little thing to play around with when you're out and about on the town. And then there are these little diamonds, little markers that are faceted outboard of the roulette wheel, just for some visual effect and light play. And then of course you've got the Geya logo, or brand name I should say, at the top of the watch. So let's take one last look at the back here. And you can see it says water resistant. It's got the brand, it's got stainless steel, and then automatic. And again, this is an automatic watch, 21 synthetic jewels, you know, so they do put that in there. They add some care to that. They also do have the quick release spring bars on the strap. So if you do want to swap the strap, you can do that pretty easily without any tools. So that's also a nice feature. And that is pretty much this watch. So the main question that I think this brings up when you come into the conversation around luxury watches is, what is that line? What's the line that you're willing to draw in the sand to say, you know what, paying $300,000 for a Jacob Co is either just ridiculous or outside my price range or whatever you might say, and I just want to have something that looks similar, that's fun for a couple $100. And that is exactly what this is. So I know that I usually post luxury watch content. This is not a luxury watch. However, what it does is it allows someone who likes luxury watches, you know, maybe some really, really high-end luxury watches, to get into a budget version of something similar. And again, I think if you're wearing this, it's not to try and convince anyone that it's the real thing. I think you wear this just for fun. And that's what this has been for me. So I appreciate you stopping by. Please do, again, like the video. I would love to hear your thoughts. Comment down below, you know, where would you draw that line? Where would you draw the line of being willing to pay some insane price for a crazy watch versus, you know, saying, you know what, I'm going to pay a couple $100 to get something that looks like it and call it a day and just have fun with my watch collecting. So please do subscribe, and I appreciate you for stopping by. Again, my goal for you is that you get out of watches whatever it is that you want to get out of watches, so you can know and love the watches you have and become a satisfied watch collector. So thank you again for stopping by, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.